So shalom, everybody. Today we'll talk about the washing of the hands. And just in case you were asking yourself why we need to learn about washing the hands, first of all, a Levite might learn this halacha or hear about it. And so we have to explain how to do it. And also, if there isn't a Levite, an Israelite is allowed to perform the washing. So, and also the Kohen himself, if there's nobody there to wash his hands. So it's important because we are part of the process of the purification, and that's why Moses commanded all the people of Israel to learn about the washing of the hands. So, by the way, what he did command was washing of the hands and feet every day in the morning. So you can imagine at 5 o'clock in the morning in Jerusalem, where it's like -2 in the winter, and you're pouring cold water from the basin onto your hands and feet together. So what they would do is they would extend their arms just above their knees, and then somebody would pour the water onto the hands and feet at the same time. And we don't know if they even had towels to wipe themselves up or not, but I think it's very significant that we know that we don't do the washing of the feet anymore because something very strange happened during the last 2,000 years, which is that the Christians wash the feet once a year during Easter, because that's what apparently their leader did. And the Muslims wash only their feet, but not their hands, and that's every day, 5 times a day. So somehow, obviously, they learned from us, but we kept only the washing of the hands. So that's what we're going to discuss today. So before the Kohanim raise their hands to bless the nation, they must wash their hands up to their wrists. There is an allusion to this in the verse in Psalms, lift up your hands in holiness and bless Hashem. So holiness is part of the purification process, and therefore, by the way, the Sephardi Jews, before they start, before they do Netilat Yadayim for the meal, they also say this verse. So they don't interrupt between washing and eating, they do it just before they wash their hands. Any Kohen who did not wash his hands may not bless the people. Eminent Rishonim disagree regarding the reason for this hand washing. According to the Rambam, in Laws of Tefillah, prayer, the obligation to wash one's hands only exists when they are dirty. So it's because of chatzitza. Just like a woman before the mikvah has to clean herself, so too if the hands are dirty, that's why you have to wash your hands. Therefore, a kohen who washes his hands in the morning and is careful not to touch dirty parts of his body is not obligated to wash his hands again before Birkat Kohanim, according to Maimonides. However, according to Rashi and Tosafot were the grandsons and later generations commentating on Rashi, even clean hands must be washed and sanctified in honor of Birkat Kohanim. So those are the two opinions. In practice, we are stringent, and a Kohen whose hands are clean must also wash them before Birkat Kohanim, like the opinion of Rashi and Tosafot. If you remember, we said that if people are at the Kota and there's thousands of people, they can wash their hands before the silent Amidah, and that way save some time trying to navigate through the crowd. So it's also practical sometimes during the high holidays and in shuls outside of Israel where there's so many people, and so maybe all the Kohanim showed up and it's Yom Kippur, and yes, the service is quite long, but still there might be rushing. However, no blessing is recited on the washing, even if he touched dirty places before washing, since there is doubt whether or not the Chachamim instituted a blessing for it. It seems from the Zohar that this washing was intended to sanctify the Kohanim and their hands in preparation for the bracha, just like the preparation for the korbanot, the sacrifices. In order to increase the level of sanctity, it is customary that a Levi pour the water on the hands of the Kohanim. When there is no Levi present in the synagogue, it is advisable that a firstborn who possesses some amount of sanctity wash the hands of the Kohanim. In the absence of a Levi and a firstborn, the Kohen washes his own hands, or like I said, if they want to honor an Israelite, or an Israelite wants to take that honor without, over empowering somebody else, then they are allowed to do so. When the Kohen is concerned that perhaps there will not be water in the synagogue with which to wash his hands, this is obviously in places that they don't have running water, before blessing the people, he washes them in his house before the prayer service and takes care to keep them clean. In that way, he can recite the blessing upon the people. However, if the Kohen is not careful to keep his hands clean after the morning washing, and he does not have water to wash them before Birkat Kohanim, he may not ascend to the Duchan to bless the nation. So I'll just tell you about a very interesting experience I had in Petach Tikva. On the way to Nechalim. Nechalim is a small, I think, Yishuv. So it's just outside of Petach Tikva. In the field, there's a shul that is just there. The shul does not have a bathroom, the shul doesn't have a sink, and the shul doesn't have electricity. So on Friday night, they have oil lamps, and in the morning they rely on the sun as much as that goes through the windows. So that is a situation even in the 21st century where there's a shul that doesn't have a sink. I don't think that I've ever seen it anywhere else that there's no sink, but just so you should know, if you happen to be in Petach Tikva, it's a great Sephardi synagogue, and it's really they really are nice and welcoming. In every situation where the Kohen is forbidden to bless the people, it is advisable that he leave the synagogue before the time of Birkat Kohanim, so that the Gabbai will not mistakenly call him up to ascend the Duchan when he is not permitted to do so. But I'll tell you that the Achronim after Rabbi Melamed said that you don't have to stay out of the shul for the whole time of the Birkat Kohanim if you are a Kohen who is not going to bless. You can come back just before they start the blessing, because by then nobody's going to tell you to go anywhere because everybody is covering their faces with the talitot or averting their eyes. So it is permissible to come back into the shul. It's not like Yizkor where people leave and never come back. Sorry, I didn't mean to be mean like that. If the Kohen remains present and he is not called, there is concern that perhaps people will think that he is an invalid Kohen, which is a very big scare because people do talk about other people's business and we can't ever stop it. We can try our hardest not to, and actually that's how I'm going to segue into the Parsha, as today is Friday. And the people coming back from the tour of the land, they were told to report to Moshe and Aaron, and maybe also the elders. Last week we appointed these 70 elders, and that's what the expectation was. You're going to go to the land of Canaan, you're going to tour it, and then you're going to come back with a report, and you're only supposed to report to us. What they did, they may have just done it without thinking too much. They went, back home to wash up and maybe to hug and kiss their wife and children. But unfortunately, they leaked some of the information to the people, and they started crying even before they heard of the decree of the 40 years. And so it is so important to remember to stay out of such doubts of people thinking that I'm this or that or the other. And Rabbi Hertzfeld also this week mentioned the Kotzker Rebbe, who said that it's none of our business what other people think about us, and that was their sin. But either way, talking about people is lashon hara, and that's the link from last week's parsha that it finishes with Miriam, and Rashi says that that's why Miriam and the Meraglim are one after juxtaposed in that way. That we should learn how to make sure that we don't speak badly about anybody, and even if we have to, it should be in a much smaller crowd. So, for example, if the teacher has something negative to say about the student, they should not talk to other parents. They should tell just the parents of that child, and hopefully in the presence of that child, because otherwise nothing will be corrected, because the child will just resent. Why are you saying bad things about me? Well, because I really care about you, and so speech is very, very important, and we'll stop there.